Thank y'all for coming today. I got a short presentation on diversity planning for Spring Garden High School. So I want to share a few stats with you. And then I've got an action plan and some goals that we as faculty members here can set for ourselves and try to attain in the near future, next few years. Okay. So what is diversity? So when you see this next chart, you know here at Spring Garden we're not really diverse when you think of racial or ethnicity. Okay. But diversity can be defined. There's two different definitions of what it means to be diverse. Over here you have one by U.S. Office of Interior. I'm just going to skim down there because you all can read. It says diversity, including but not limited to race, religion, color, gender, national origin, disability, sexual orientation, age, education, geographic origin, and skill characteristics. So diversity in this is pictured as what's given our country uniqueness, our strength over time, and our country is built off ethnic diversity, okay, immigration. But we as educators can look at diversity. Sometimes this is one of the toughest things to overcome when you're teaching. No matter if you're talking about racial diversity or, in our terms, we're going to talk about socioeconomic diversity. Okay, so that's what we're going to really focus on today. So there's a lot of different things that you can be diverse in, but we want to talk about and zone in on two of those today that I'll share with you. But this is our racial breakdown of Spring Garden School. Okay, and we talked about previously that you wouldn't be surprised when you saw this. 91% white, Caucasian. We have 6% black, African American, Hispanic is a 1%, and then others, mainly listed as Native American heritage, at 3%. So not a real diverse ethnicity. Okay, so we're not going to really talk about that a whole lot. Or matter of fact, we're not going to talk about it again during the presentation. So we're going to move on and talk about two areas today: poverty and then diversity of our faculty. So how can that be addressed? Now, our faculty closely resembles this, but I would say our faculty be close to 100%. I mean, I don't know if somebody else would list other, but we would be 100% white, Caucasian. Okay, they may be listed other or one of the other categories there that falls on it. But I want to take a look at a few test scores before we get into our actual goals. We got testing coming up in a few weeks, and my target group was this year's 6th graders, which was last year's 5th graders. And this is their score on the Aspire testing. And I've highlighted 2014 and 2015, last year's school years. You notice that in the 5th grade, this year's 6th grade, we had 11 that were ready to take the Aspire test. And you look, 33 of them were close on mathematics, and then we had 11 that were in need of extra help. Okay, so that's the mathematics. Those numbers are not as good as we would like to see them. We hope those pick up on this next year's test. Our reading was a little bit better, okay, for those ready, but the ones that need help increased. Okay, so we had a few more that were ready, but we had also a few more that needed help, and not as many in that middle category and the close. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you these test scores is when we're thinking about some goals that we can set, some target areas that we can set for ourselves. How can the way that we teach a diverse student population, how can that affect test scores? Does it affect test scores? And I think the answer is yes. The way that we teach different students does affect test scores. I mean, we've all agreed that all students are different, and we always stop there, but what makes each student different? That's what we have to look at as educators to really get down and see the effective teaching practices that can make these test scores or achievement levels increase. So let's look at the two things today we want to talk about from here on out. Is poverty, and that's aimed at our student population, and then the diversity of our faculty and staff. How can we change that in a direction to make improvements in our test scores? So that's what we're talking about. What measures can we take as a faculty at Spring Garden School to improve our relationships with students and at the same time improve our students' achievement on these standardized tests? So the first thing here is goals that we need to set for ourselves in these two areas. Okay, so goals for our diversity. We just got done reading the Payne book. We talked about that in our last faculty meeting for just a minute. I want to point out this one thing. This one thing I think that kind of summarizes diversity and how to be a diverse teacher. This one quote by Dr. Payne, and I'm going to read this first one. It says, teachers must strive to bridge the social capital and not bond social capital. Well, what that means is we talk about, and throughout the book we talk about how relationships are key. Okay? So, bridging versus bonding social capital. If I have two students here that are in the same socioeconomic level, then they're going to connect with each other. That's pretty a given. Now, we see kids that connect with peers that are like them. But we don't see many times that those from maybe a level of poverty connect with somebody from the upper middle class. We don't see those kids. Those kids usually don't flock together. So our job is, as a teacher, is to try to bridge the social capital. Bridge all students. So if we look at all students as their value educationally, not their status economically, then we can help bridge these students and not bond people with the same socioeconomic status. Now I'm going to ask you a quick question. So why is that important? Why is that important? Go back to our last faculty meeting. Why is it important for somebody in the lower class to associate themselves with somebody from the upper middle class? How will that help them in reaching a successful level in life? What will they learn from somebody in the upper class?
Learn those hidden rules.
Hidden rules. Okay? Hidden rules to be successful. Another thing we talk about, we as teachers, and it's on this slideshow, we as teachers, we show them how to do what in class? While we're talking, we're teaching them how to do what? Communicate. We're teaching them how to talk, communicate at a higher level, not get away from the slang words and inappropriate words that we would categorize as. So, the relationship. So we got that's all that they're saying, to build relationships, no matter what class the student's in. We also need to have resources, training. We cover a lot of professional development, but I don't know if I've ever went to a professional development that dealt with student diversity, as a key issue. And I know this summer we've got some that would be labeled as, we look at them as helping us be more diverse in our teaching strategies, but we've, aside from the pain book, we've never really focused in on that. Okay, poverty, diversity is in poverty. Overall mission statement. We have an overall mission statement here at Spring Garden. I think that is attainable for all students. To create successful workers, successful individuals in society. That's our overall goal here at Spring Garden School. So I think we've got that. So maybe we could tweak that a little bit and work it a little bit more. But I think we've got a pretty good mission statement. Develop an environment that nurtures and motivates our diverse student population. And lastly, develop a system that allows effective communication with all parents. And I don't hit on that with all parents. Is it always parents that we communicate with? Now, so we really could reword that, probably put all guardians. Because a lot of times we talk to grandmothers, and aunts. And we also established last week in the faculty meeting that if we talk to a parent, a high percentage of the time it's which one? The mother, okay? The female, okay? The female guardian, that's who we tend to talk to the most, all right? So, some goals here for students in poverty. Again, there's the word relationships, okay? Build relationships with these students that we see. And we have classrooms full of students that we can pick out and know, hey, we know their situations. We know what they're going through. So if we build these kind of relationships, that we can understand them better, okay? Modeling, there it is. Model how to speak and write using formal registry. Take time to explain our rules. That's something I have never really thought about until I've really done this, but have you ever thought about going into detail on your classroom rules? That some kids don't understand why you have certain classroom rules. Well, they seem pretty simple. I mean, when I look back at my classroom rules, I thought, do I really need to explain those? But some kids may not understand. Why do I need to stay in my seat when you're talking? Why? Why is it inappropriate for me to get up while visitors in the room and go throw something in the trash can while they're giving a lecture? They don't understand why it's inappropriate. Those are just a few that come to my mind. But we need to take time to make sure they understand these rules. That way we can better teach them the hidden rules later on. Teach in a way that students realize you value them for their character and not their socioeconomic status. Okay? If they realize that, hey, this teacher values me, Coach Ragsdale values me for my knowledge of history, my willingness to participate, that will, a light bulb will come on there, and maybe they go, hey, this is my way out. Education is my way out. If I show interest in these subjects and I'm willing to work, these teachers will work with me. But they also see the flip side of that. If they go, well, they're just targeting the kids that can already do it, then they may just shut down. Okay, so that's why we've got to build these relationships so we can realize these things. So, goals for faculty and staff. How to become a more diverse faculty. Okay, and this is, again, going to our student breakdown. I know that's not really something that we really think about, but it could be in the future. Okay, how to attract the diverse faculty members, new faculty members, best and brightest from all walks of life and backgrounds. Include specific language in future job postings that will encourage diverse or culturally competent applicants. This is a big one to me. Create a partnership with local schools, and what local schools means is colleges of education. For instance, JSU, that's close to us. Maybe we have some kind of partnership on a yearly basis that we come in, and maybe as an administrative staff, we do mock interviews with maybe somebody that's been in inner city Birmingham schools. Maybe the College of Education will send us applicants and say, hey, you're about to go into the application process. Why don't you go to a rural school because you came from an inner city school? Go, it'll be experience for you, and it'll be experience for us as faculty and administrators, to maybe interview somebody that typically wouldn't put in for a job here in a rural community. Then later on down the road, they open doors. Skipping on down, provide incentives for faculty to attend workshops. What can we do? We can't just say, hey, we need to be more diverse. Go to this workshop right here. It's a big good one for you to go to. Maybe we come up with some kind of incentive plan to encourage faculty members to work on their diversity. Annual on-campus seminars or events that may count towards professional development, dealing with these topics of diversity. So, last part here is actions to address students, with poverty, and actions to address our school faculty. So, students with poverty, some things that we can do to help address family literacy programs. Again, this comes from the textbook. The lower class don't tend to read. The upper class read to the children. So we see that in classrooms with the reading level. Computer literacy. A few years ago, it might not be such a big thing. But now, all our kids have the Chromebook initiative. That is a really big thing. And some of the kids, are better on the computers than I am. So maybe they teach me. But this is a thing that they need to be able to operate in order to be successful, not just in school but in life. After school programs, there's grants out there that we could write grants for after school dinner meals. Okay, now we say dinner is something that we served at 4:30. Kids would stay, they receive tutoring, maybe computer programs, and then we'd feed them and send them home. Okay, because just like I do, some kids, the last meal they get is lunch before they come back the next day for breakfast. That's hard to imagine, but that's something to think about. Okay, student mentoring, older students with younger students, and that's another great opportunity to bridge the social gaps. Bridge two students together from different levels. Secondary school job fair, that goes back to attracting a diverse teaching population. Actions to address diversity, faculty, and staff. Three here. Okay, prioritize interviews for minority applicants. Ask the Board of Education to create a minority teacher recruitment plan, and encourage minority professionals to seek alternative teaching certificates. Now, some of those things are something we can't really control as a school, but that would just be some ideas we might pass on to somebody higher up, I guess you would say. And this is something we have dealt with in lower grades, right? I mean, now I haven't had it in my classroom, but this is something the last few years we've dealt with in lower grades, is English language learners, okay? Some things that we need to think about. And this is a big one, you can read those top ones. I thought about this because we get the calls about the weather, school delays. What if they get these calls and they can't understand English? That is there an option there? Is there an option there for them to get a? Yeah. It is, okay. So that's something we have and already there in place. So attention to home and school communication. Most of them that I've looked at or had experience with, they speak English at school, but then they go home. It's all Spanish, So we need to get their parents on board. The importance of them learning the language also. Bilingual faculty and staff. That could be an option, I guess, if we get more of an increased number there. But those are a few things addressing English language learners. And last thing to talk about here, for a diverse perspective, there's 4 target areas here that we look at. I want to show you one example, okay, about how we've diversified, and even our textbooks. I want to point out this: textbook adoptions that are sensitive to the accomplishments of minorities. Okay, don't seem like a big deal. does not seem like a big deal. Again, I had to kind of double take on this, but especially English, you may use authors. I don't know, you have a lot of authors that they go on about minorities and the struggle and how they become. Well, in our new history textbooks, I look back at our old history textbook, and it's really hard for me to get to this point a lot of times. But all this entire chapter used to be a lesson, just one lesson. But now you have the women's rights movement and Native Americans and the Latino movement all in the 2 chapters. Okay, so that is an adoption there. That shows an increase of these ethnic groups in our society, and that's a big deal for them to see their people, doing great things and where they came from. So I think it's important that as we teach, we can find ways to include diverse populations and show that, hey, these people have done big things and they're not held back by society standards. So textbook adoption are a big thing. Have targets. Teach tolerance through our education. And character education, that's something we do already. Character education, I know Ms. Reagan does a good job of having character education topics, and more so in the younger, more so in the younger kids, but still important in the high school, middle schools, but probably more so in the younger grades. So that's just a brief overview of the plan. Okay, as I know it had a lot of information on there. I tried to mash that down as much as I can, as much as I could. So if you've got any questions, ask away. Any questions or comments or anything. Just thought was good, bad, ugly. So, I mean. Alright, that's all I've got there.